Okay, now we're at the Google Developers Dashboard, and this is what it looks like. You can copy the URL from the instructions down below and just simply put it in. So now we're at this, and you'll notice I'm not signed in. Generally, what you'll find the first couple times you come in, you're going to get this box that comes in here. Don't touch this stuff. Just simply scroll through the arrows and hit Start. And what will happen is it's going to ask you to log into your Gmail account. So I'm going to do that now. And it'll ask you for your username and password, and that's all. That's okay. Now, the first time that you sign into this, you may get a screen that pops up and says, hey, is it okay to allow Google Cloud to do these different things? And so you want to be able to answer, yes, it is perfectly fine to do that, right? So now that I'm in the dashboard, I want to take and come into my Android Leads project, right? And what this is going to do, it's going to go out and search out any of the devices that I have activated. So yours will look a little different the first time you do it. I've already changed my title, but you'll just see a series of numbers there, right? So all you're going to do is click on this, and it'll open up the details. So you'll see that you're in the view details, and the message that you see the beacon is active and works correctly. That's a great thing. So what you're going to do is simply take those numbers and change them, right? So I have this set up for an open house that we'll be doing on the 27th. So I filled that information in. I'm going to hit tab, and I'm going to keep tabbing through level and place. And I'm going to come down to this spot. Now you'll notice that my screen has the ability to do mobile. So I'm going to come in and hit that down arrow. I have the ability to take and mark it as stable. And it's really for how the beacon is moving around, right? So if I'm going to keep it out in front of, say, an apartment complex or something like that, I can click off stable, but most of the time I'm just going to use mobile. Now, in the event that you don't see that arrow down, it just means you usually got like an old browser. You should either be able to hit controlled down arrow or shift down arrow, I don't remember which, and select mobile or stable, right? Then it's going to come in and it's going to ask you to take and create a property name, and that is really for you to sort. So think of it as an organization. I don't remember why I named this RN or White, but if I wanted to search that way, I might, let's say I was going to do this for Bob's Pizza, I could name it Bob's Pizza, and the property value would be White 1, and White 2, White 3, and then everything would be sortable that way. Now, when I do this, if I was going to add that and it wasn't in there, I would have to hit the plus button. So I'd enter this information in, and I'd have to hit the plus button to be able to save it, right? And then I would simply come up here and hit save. I can hit save, but it won't do anything, okay? So that's all you have to do to take and get your thing set up properly, your device set up properly, is to name it, organize it, and tell Google, is it going to be moving around, basically, okay? So that's all there is to it. So the next step that we're going to do is we're going to come in and set up the notification. So I'm going to simply hit this View Detail drop-down button. Let me show you here. I'm going to simply hit this, and I'm going to come to Nearby Notifications. And this is where I'm going to go to tell Google what I want the message to be. So I already have this message in here. I'm not going to really mess around with it again because I don't remember what the URL is. But basically what I would do is when you come in, you would add a title. So if I want to do this as a test for demo, I could name it as Test for Demo. Oops. The language is always EN, and the EN must be in lowercase, okay? Leave the production mode alone where everybody will see that. And then if I want to deliver it to a web URL, which is what I highly recommend doing, is that you take and deliver it to a website, and you would come in and put your URL right there. So let's say I was going to send it to Google. I would simply punch in Google's URL. I would scroll down and hit Create. And then I would go up and hit Save. Once I did that, my message is ready. But before I talk to you about that, I want to take and go through this. Your URL must be what's called a secure website, right? Google frowns upon any website that doesn't have a security system. However, I'll give you an example. We use Conversion for our search terms, or for our real estate search. That is not a secure website, which is mind-boggling, but nonetheless it is. So my recommendation is for you EXP people using that is to be able to take and use your WordPress website and have the support department put a security certificate in your WordPress site. But it does have to be a secure site, in order to be able to direct traffic to it. So things like YouTube, maybe you want to send them to a property video or things like that. Or if you set up a landing page for a company or a business, depending on who's using the devices, just make sure that it's a secure site. So that's all there is to it. So you'd hit create, you'd go up and hit save up here, and your message is ready to be started or starting to be delivered, right? Now, for you personally, because you set this up, your phone was around it, you had the device on when you configured it, you need to take and do a couple things for the message to show up. You need to turn off your location and your Bluetooth on your Android phone and reboot the phone. Now, the reason you have to do it is because you were working by the device when it was in the configuration mode. Anybody else who has an Android device does not have to do that. One other word of caution, if you're going to go and demonstrate that inside or to a person that has an Android phone, then you need to make sure that you do ask them, do you have your location on and your Bluetooth? Because you don't want to go into some kind of sales presentation or listing presentation or a small business owner, tell them how wonderful this is, and you don't explain to them that it does have to have the location and the Bluetooth on, right? Once they do that, you'll see the message will be delivered. It does take about 3 or 4 minutes to do that, so keep refreshing your screen or refresh their screen if they didn't have that on. So just know that it does take a few minutes for Google to cycle through. And again, now, if you wanted to take and change this message, let's say that I had the device that was out in front of an apartment complex. I can come in and change this information. So again, let's say I wanted to change it from open house to tired of paying rent. All that can be done from here. You don't have to be sitting in front of the device to do it. So you can log in and do all of that from here. So folks, that's all there is to it. Have fun, play around. I know the first couple times, well, it'll seem a little bit complicated, but once you know how to do it a couple times, it gets to be very, very simple. Good luck. Have fun.